Every issue has two sides. Most shows pick one. We argue both. Not for clicks, not for comfort, but because the truth loves tension. Between ideas, power, and the people they affect. This is Mike and Nick. Left versus right. 30 minutes, one topic, no talking points, no safe takes, no holds barred. Let's go!
I think you got to double time that.
Is it too slow? I'm trying to build, this is episode 1.
Slow.
So I think for episode 1, Nick.
Are we live?
We keep it slow. We're live.
Yeah, fuck it.
We keep it slow for episode 1. People are hearing this for the first time. And then for episode 2, which we're recording in 2 weeks, double time, maybe triple time.
I love it. Great intro, but we got to work on it. I think you need to quicken the pace. So say it again.
You want me to do it again?
No, I want you to just...
Okay.
Let's go.
Every issue has two sides. Most shows pick one. We argue both. Not for clicks, not for comfort, but because the truth loves tension. Between ideas, power, and the people they affect. This is Mike and Nick. Left versus right. 30 minutes, one topic. No talking points, no safe takes, no holds barred. Let's go!
You nailed it.
And we hit the post at the end there.
You nailed it, buddy.
So, Nick, I love pilot episodes. Like, I could just watch pilot episodes all day. Like, yeah, that show ran for 630 episodes. That show ran for 85 episodes. I like to see how they create the universe. I like to see the first episode. This is the pilot episode of Mike and Nick.
This is the pilot episode of the rest of our lives.
This is the beginning of the rest of our lives. So, Nick, I want to set the table in this episode. This is just to let the listenership know what we plan to do here and who a little bit about who we are and why we felt like the world needed one more podcast.
Mike and Nick, yes. Well, first of all, are you asking me a question?
I would love it if you chimed in on the Mike and Nick show, for example, maybe a little bit about what you're thinking about, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking, and we'll figure out where we are.
Well, this happened kind of organically, didn't it? Like I'm driving home, and we're talking on the phone, and we came up with this idea. I think you came up with it, didn't you?
Well, you and I should tell the listenership that you and I often disagree on things, but we have long, interesting conversations where you share your take, I share my take. Often I'll move a little bit based on what my friend Nick Ioannis thinks, and sometimes you'll even move a little bit based on what your friend Mike thinks. But I think it's important that people have these conversations instead of just shutting down, saying, "You're dead to me. I don't talk to you. You're the enemy." We should continue a discourse.
I agree. And you know what? We do it in a respectful way, which is good. And occasionally I move, but not very often.
I could get you to move on bike lanes.
The left usually always moves. I'm just joking.
Well, we got to find a consensus, right? We got to meet somewhere where we can all be.
We need something exclusively Canadian too, like because there's not a lot of, I don't know. Is there a lot of talk about this stuff in Canadian broadcasting or whatever it is?
Well, there's a lot of talk, as you point out, there's a lot of talk about American politics right now because the 800-pound gorilla in the room is a chap known as Donald J. Trump, and I think he consumes most of the oxygen. But, we do have things to discuss in Canada.
Yeah, there are things. So this is exclusively Canadian because we're going to do it the Canadian way, which is, polite and respectful, but at the same time we can have, some differing views and viewpoints, and that's the whole point. And I think what I was thinking is that we're going to take one topic, whatever it is. Sometimes it doesn't have to be Canadian.
Right.
It can be an international story. For example, like Venezuela is pretty hot today. Venezuela, Greenland, and then it ties into Canada. What's happening in the United States? Why is this happening right now? A lot of people are concerned about it. We also had that incident with the ICE agent.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very interesting story
in Minneapolis.
Well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hot right now. I'm not sure if there's a lot of things that are hot in Canada that we can talk about this week, but those are the kind of things that I wanted to talk about kind of today.
Well, I was hoping maybe for this
As well.
for this first episode we could get
We're going to talk a little
your
bit
thoughts
about
on this.
something.
So, would you mind? Yeah, would you mind sharing with us what your thoughts are on what happened in Venezuela, what might be happening, at least the rhetoric with regards to Greenland, and what we've seen from the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota, with the ICE agents.
Okay, that's a loaded question. But so, Mike, are we agreeing like this is the way we're going to do it? We're going to pick some topic each week and we're going to talk about it, right?
Yeah, I think every episode at the front will kind of say, here's the 2 or 3 topics we're going to dive into. And then we have a civil discourse where it's just Mike and Nick discussing how they feel, what they think.
You might even agree with me. That's the problem. We might be so you're left, I'm right, but we're almost the same age. We're almost identically the same age.
Same vintage, raised in the same city.
Same city, raised in the same way. I had more success with women, obviously, but
we're both happily married to beautiful women.
Happily married, yes, that's true. But let's get to it, man. So are you okay? First of all, let's talk about Venezuela.
Sure.
So Venezuela, it's not like it's not the first time something like that ever happened. They grabbed, you remember probably in our day that they grabbed Manuel Noriega,
right?
And so things like this happen. The United States has done it. Other countries have done similar things, probably more so the United States. But, United States have been historically interfering in other countries for, I don't know, quite a long time. Probably a good part of the century, so to speak. So, and I think we're so used to looking at things in the sort of the old world view, which is gone, and it's a shock to the system because things are being done all over the world very differently. It could be a bad thing, but it could be a good thing too. So, in my opinion, Trump, well, they call it the Don Roe
right
doctrine, right?
Right.
But he's doing some things in, I guess they call it the Western Hemisphere. He's got a plan. He targeted Venezuela because it's an easy target. They were doing bad things. There's no question about that. I don't think anyone would question that. But he's trying to control that part of the region. He's taking control of the Panama Canal. So he's doing a lot of things. He's taking the oil. He's not shy about that either. So you could look at it and you can say a lot of people probably are against it. They say because he's doing something to, he's just basically invading a nation or taking a leader out of the nation, even though that person was no good. But I think you have to look at things in a different way because the old world is gone. We're into a new world, whether you like it or not. You have other rogue nations that have been growing over the years, and they've been, sort of infiltrating us without us even knowing. A lot of people were never doing anything about it. So I think this it's hard to say whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just making an observation. So now
I think you're right. We will agree more than you think in that I don't think there's many Venezuelans who are upset at the removal of this dictator who stole the election. And by all accounts, getting rid of this leader is good for that country.
Yeah,
okay?
and the Venezuelans, they love it. They're all, most of them, if not like 99%, maybe 100%, are celebrating this change in their country.
So here's where things get a little tricky, right? So I think the removal of this man, and if people don't know, obviously they literally some civilians, some deaths in the process, but they kidnapped him and his wife and brought them to New York to be tried, essentially. And I think that the concern and the big question is what happens next? Like, does America allow for democracy to return and for this nation to be sovereign once more? Or
I think that will happen. But it's not going to happen right away. I think what they're going to do is they're blockading. They're using that blockade to basically control the puppets over in Venezuela, and the existing regime, whatever's left of it. So I think they're going to take the oil. The United States they're going to buy U.S. goods. They're going to, my wife is Cuban, by the way, too. So, they're praying that this has some kind of a spill effect over in Cuba, and that regime collapses too, because they're let's be honest.
It's also a dictatorship.
Yeah, they're not good countries. Like, she escaped from Cuba for a reason, because it was a communist country. It was, you can't get food, you don't get electricity and water like everybody else, and we take these things for granted. And so but I've been noticing there's a lot of lefty type individuals, not necessarily you. You perked up, by the way, when I said that.
I just wanted to hear what you were saying. I heard my name, Lefty Mike.
I thought I was going to get dropped, but
mute. I have the mute buttons, everybody.
But anyways, so it's they're saying, oh, you can't, it's a sovereign nation. So they're saying things like that. They're saying things that, they're anti-Trump, which, a lot of people don't like Trump, and that's the way it goes. But, that's not a reason to not seriously look to see what he's doing, why he's doing it. And
why do you think he's doing it?
Well, I think he's sending a message to other nations that this is the Western Hemisphere, and it belongs to, I guess, the free democratic world led by the United States.
Do you know, this is a fun fact for you, Nick Aedes, this country we're talking in right now, Canada, that we're both proud Canadians here, we're also in their sphere of influence.
Yeah.
So what would stop,
Scary.
I'm curious, what would stop Donald Trump as commander-in-chief of the world's largest military, what would stop him from just saying we're taking over Canada now?
Well, before we go to Canada, let's go to Greenland.
Let's go to Greenland first. Good idea.
Yeah. So he's been also threatening Greenland. It'd be nice if it was part of like North America, more so North America than Europe, obviously.
But it belongs to Denmark.
It does belong to Denmark, yeah.
A fellow member of NATO, by the way.
Yeah. Well, they can make a deal. Hopefully they make a deal. If they want, I think it's probably for missile defense system that they want to implement in the United States. It could be for that. But I think, and they maybe want to go after the minerals. Like, there's this big, I don't know if you noticed, but in the last Trump administration, there's been this huge push for minerals for various products that we're making all across the globe. And we didn't hear much about it like 5-10 years ago, did we? But now we're hearing about it, and now everybody's going after everything. Like, Trump made that deal with Ukraine to grab their minerals, strategic minerals, and, Greenland's a good target. So, I don't think they're going to go and take it. I doubt they're going to do something like that.
But they won't say this is going to sound like a double negative, but they won't say they won't use military force to take Greenland.
Well, part of the negotiation.
Okay, but I have a question for you, Nick. I know how you're wired. You're a businessman. You're an entrepreneur. Money is a very important measurement of success.
Money is not for me. Like, money is a means to an end. Okay? I'm not a money hungry money guy.
You're not
I just
Scrooge.
No, I'd like to have money so that I can do whatever the hell I want, I guess. More freedom, I guess.
But you will admit to me here that not everything has a price tag on it. Like, not everything is for sale. The idea that you will be, part of America, for example, or ruled by America isn't as enticing for the rest of the world as you may believe. So I just wonder if Greenland isn't for sale, because I don't believe it's for sale, just like I know Canada's not for sale. And at some point, would America invade Greenland? And at that point, does that, what is it, Article 5 of NATO? Like, you invade one of us, you invade all of us. A member of NATO invading another member of NATO could spark a world war.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of extreme, actually. I think you don't call it an invasion. You just say, here, I'm coming. I just occupy.
Okay. Pedantic.
It's not an
sure.
invasion. You just, what are they going to do?
You're not welcome here. Well, I'm coming anyways, but we're not going to call that an invasion.
Well, it's not an invasion because I'm not killing anyone. I'm not fighting anyone. I'm just bringing my troops in, and I'm going, there's a base there already. So maybe I'm flying in tons of American soldiers and military people in that base. Maybe I'm doing something like that. But I guess going back to the point, there's been many instances in history where, the U.S. purchased property. There was a big Louisiana Purchase.
Sure.
They also grabbed Alaska. They bought that from the Russians. And
although we're going back quite a bit because that was 1860s, I think.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, these are periods of points in history. We just don't see them very often anymore because, we live in this sort of new age where everybody thinks that it's going to stay the way it is forever. And I don't think, I think there's some problems with that thinking.
So in this first episode, which we're going to try to keep these to half an hour, I want to connect these dots. So we started talking about Venezuela.
Yeah.
Where there was a leader who we can argue needed to be removed for the people of Venezuela. Like you can make an argument that removing this leadership was a good thing. Okay, so as we said, we'll see what happens next. Yes. I don't think Venezuelans want to be occupied and ruled by the United States of America. I don't think that's popular at all in that country. So let's see what happens.
But they're not
next.
being occupied. What they're doing is they're blockading Venezuela for a time period to change everything that's happening there, and maybe that country's eventually, hopefully, that country's going to turn around. There's going to be a proper democracy, if you like, call it, and so on and so forth.
So we're both big fans of democracy. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Greenland, which belongs to Denmark, with Denmark being a democracy. Because I'm hoping we can close with a little chatter, because you mentioned this is a Canadian podcast and Canada first on this podcast when we discuss these topics.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's say America does at some point, either via negotiation or through some means, ends up having Greenland, right?
I have an idea for that too. Maybe they do a lease agreement.
Okay, you could.
So they lease it for like 200 years or something like that, and they divvy up the lease, and maybe it's northern Greenland that nobody uses, and there's no issue.
Okay, so that's so far.
Great
so
idea.
far, we're having a good idea.
I should talk to the Danish people.
I love the Danish people. I had the greatest visit to Copenhagen, where the people were just so nice and so sensible. And I was thinking, if I had to live in any country that wasn't Canada, I could see myself living in Denmark.
Yeah, I eat Danishes all the time.
I made a few Danish jokes this week, but let's talk about Canada now. Okay,
right.
Before we say goodbye in this first episode,
we got Venezuela, we got Greenland, and then you know what? Strategically, if they get Greenland, they're going to say, Canada, we're coming from you next.
So now we have not only a historical ally, right? Not only a friendly neighbor to the north, but a true democracy. Canada is a democracy. So you can talk about, nobody's in Greenland or whatever, and you can talk about the fact, they don't have a true democracy in Venezuela. Yes. But now we have an ally that is a true democracy.
Well, we don't have. I wouldn't call it a true democracy.
Explain.
Okay, I mean, Canada's got its weaknesses in our political,
but it's still a democracy, right? Like our votes are, regardless of your political stripe and whether you're right, left, or whatever, you will admit that we have fair elections. That there's no, it's fair. You can trust our elections. We have a process. It's a transparent process that is followed. No one in the world is questioning the fairness of a Canadian election.
Well, I would say it is. There's the appearance of democracy in Canada for sure. I wouldn't call it a true democratic country. In that there's a grip or a claw on the politics of Canada, which is run by. I don't say they're elites, but there could be elites. I don't know. There's a group. They're called the Laurentians, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, this concerns me, but keep going.
But what I'm saying is that, there is a grip on Canada, and it needs to open up a little bit.
But Nick Ainis, when let's say when you're in the behind the curtain, what is it? We have these whatever. You're in the private space where you're going to put an X beside a name. Okay, let's say you're voting for your local member of parliament. Okay,
Yeah.
You know that you have the freedom to check any box and that it will be counted for that.
There's no
particular
question
candidate.
that the elections are fair and responsible.
Just want to make sure we clarify
So it's a true voting system for it's the parties and the leaders and who you get to pick. That's what I'm thinking is not fair. And there's various elements in the government that are not necessarily fair. For example, the Senate, they're appointed for life. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I have trouble understanding the role of the Senate in Canada.
Yeah, they just do whatever they want, I guess. Right. I guess they, well, I mean, the Senate is there to, conduct its duties.
Like a check and balance sort of over the parliamentary system.
I mean, legislation goes to the Senate, then it goes back to the House, right?
Right.
And, but anyways, and maybe we need to brush up on our Canadian politics a little bit, you and I. But, no, I'm not saying that, listen, yes, we live in a true democracy. We vote, sometimes the leaders in the party, there's certain people that are sort of controlling the politics, I would say, a little bit too much. It has to get opened up a little bit. That's my only complaint about Canada is that.
And that's fair.
Yeah, it's not as open as it could be to any ordinary person.
But I suppose what I'm trying to do is differentiate between what was happening in Venezuela and what's happening here right now. So, your points, I respect them. I hear you out there. There's no perfect system, but we have fair democratic elections in this country. So what exactly is the justification for the United States of America invading in any way their ally, Canada?
Are they invading? They haven't invaded us.
No, not that. Not what time is it?
There's a bit of a trade war. So what is the purpose? I think I think it's more about. If I would say Trump wants to create a legacy that in history.
By basically ruling the sovereign nation of Canada,
creating this powerhouse United States entity. So probably there's some desire for Canada. I don't think they're going to control Canada, but I don't know what he's doing to be honest.
See, I don't think so. Just say that because who can read the mind?
There's designs since I guess Trudeau. Maybe this was a joke at first. I have no idea. Maybe it was organic. Maybe the idea popped in his head when Justin Trudeau came and visited him at Mar-a-Lago. And there's this sense of reliability. You know what I saw on social media?
What?
Was John Turner and Brian Mulroney debating free trade with the U.S.
I remember this.
And
88 maybe?
Turner was completely against it, and Mulroney said this is a good thing for Canada. In the end, was it a good thing for Canada? So, we've become so dependent on the U.S. for trade, and I think we can all see that now. Who knows what's going to happen? Obviously, whatever happens, I'm Canadian, obviously, and we love our country. Would I like to see some kind of an economic union with the United States? I don't know. That might be interesting.
That sounds like NAFTA. That's what, that sounds like what we have today. Which was, I forget the new name of it. What does he call it now? CU Kuzma or what?
Well, there's Kuzma and then there's USMCA. That's okay. It's the same thing, but
he negotiated these during his first term as president, right?
Yeah,
Mr. 45 at the time. Okay, because I feel like that is what you're describing there, and of course we need partnerships and alliance with this huge economic powerhouse that is our closest geographical neighbor. But I suppose on our way out, what I'm hoping to hear from you, Nick, is that at this point, as we speak, on January 9th, 2026, there's no justification for Canada to be controlled in any way by the United States of America.
No, and it'll never happen. Now, an economic union, I don't know, maybe does that appeal to you at all? Wouldn't you like to like
Partnership of
create
economic
like this,
nature, of course.
like a European Union in North America, and you get to work anywhere you want. You can set up a business anywhere you want. That kind of appeals to me. But
more to discuss in future episodes of Mike and Nick. And you know, the world's changing so rapidly. It's nice that every couple of weeks we're going to check in and talk about what's top of mind and just have a discourse.
And you know what? The people have to listen to this show because we're talking about some amazing ideas here. And thanks to you, Mike.
You'll keep me in check and I'll keep you in check. How's that for a pledge?
I just got slapped.
Thank you for listening to Mike and Nick, Left versus Right. Please share, like, and subscribe. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks.